All right, so this is a suggestion via Patreon. The name of the video is Adolf in English, an AI reconstruction. Apparently, this video is going to be coming with a disclaimer here. Please be advised that this video includes translations of historical speeches or works recreated using advanced AI tools to replicate the original voices and styles. These reproductions may contain controversial, sensitive, or outdated viewpoint and language. Oh God, guys. The content is presented in its historical context and does not reflect the views or values of this channel. Viewer discretion is advised, particularly for the younger audiences. Okay, guys. All right, let's go ahead and do this. Oh God, guys. Let's do it.
Viewer discretion advised. Please be advised that this video includes translations of historical speeches or works, recreated using advanced AI tools to
really quickly, guys, the name of the channel is Time Unveiled. It's at the top, guys.
Replicate the original voices and styles. These reproductions may contain controversial, sensitive, or outdated viewpoint.
I'm going to go ahead and say he's probably right, but we've already read this, so we're going to go ahead and actually bypass it. Didn't know he was going to be reading it, guys. Let's do it.
Du meine Arbeit für richtig hältst, ob du glaubst, dass ich fleißig gewesen bin. In connection with the question, I have this to say. It is a shameful spectacle to see how the whole democratic world is oozing sympathy for the poor, tormented people, but remains hard-hearted and obdurate when it comes to helping them, which is surely, in view of its attitude, an obvious duty. The arguments that are brought up as an excuse for not helping them actually speak for us Germans and Italians. For this is what they say. 1. We, that is the democracies, are not in a position to take in the... Yet in these empires there are not 10 people to the square kilometer, while Germany, with her 135 inhabitants to the square kilometer, is supposed to have room for them. 2. They assure us we can...
So your idea was to delete them en masse? That was your idea, bro? I don't want to call you bro. I didn't come up with a new word. Mustache man.
Is supposed to have room for them. 2. They assure us we cannot take them unless Germany is prepared to allow them a certain amount of capital to bring with them as immigrants. For hundreds of years, Germany was good enough to receive these elements, although they possessed nothing except infectious political and physical diseases. What they possess today, they have by a very large extent gained at the cost of the less astute German nation by the most reprehensible manipulations. Today, we are merely paying this people what it deserves. When the German nation was...
We're merely paying these people what they deserve? Are you sure? Are you sure, Mustache man? What's interesting is that... Oh, okay, I'm trying to collect myself here, right? What's interesting is all of what he is saying, for my entire existence, the only time I've ever heard this speech specifically was in the German language, and I don't understand German, so it just sounded, no offense, like gibberish, right? But I don't think I like the fact that now I hear what he's actually saying for the first time in history, and I don't think I like it. I guess I knew we weren't going to like it, right? I'm sure you knew, I knew, everyone knew that we weren't going to like what was being said here, but he's not that far off from what some people say still to today, right? I mean, if you were to say that this came out in 2022, I'd be like, okay, yeah, most likely. Somebody in America said it about the migrants.
Thanks to the inflation instigated and carried through by deprived of the entire savings which it had accumulated in years of honest work, when the rest of the world took away the German nation's foreign investments, when we were divested of the whole of our colonial possessions.
Good.
These philanthropic considerations evidently carried little...
It was obviously deserved if your plan was this.
...noticeable weight with democratic statesmen. Today I can only assure these gentlemen that thanks to the brutal education with which the democracies favored us for 15 years, we are completely hardened to all attacks of sentiment. After more than 800,000 children of the nation had died of hunger and undernourishment at the close of the war, we witnessed almost 1 million head of milking cows being driven away from us in accordance with the cruel paragraphs of a dictate which the humane democratic apostles of the world forced upon us as a peace treaty. We witnessed over 1 million German prisoners of war being retained in confinement for no reason at all for a whole year after the war was ended. We witnessed witnessed over 1.5 million Germans being torn away from all that they possessed in the territories lying on our frontiers and being whipped out with practically only what they wore on their backs. We had to endure having millions of our fellow countrymen torn from us without their consent and without their being afforded the slightest possibility of existence. I could supplement these examples with dozens of the most cruel kind. For this reason, we ask to be spared all sentimental talk. The German nation does not wish its interests to be determined and controlled by any foreign nation, France to the French, England to the English, America to the Americans, and Germany to the Germans. We are resolved to prevent the settlement in our country of a strange people which was capable of snatching for itself all the leading positions in the land, and to oust it, for it is our will to educate our own nation for these leading positions. We have hundreds of thousands of very intelligent children of peasants and of the working classes. We shall have them educated. In fact, we have already begun, and we wish that one day they, and not the representatives of an alien race, may hold the leading positions in the state together with our educated classes. Above all, German culture, as its name alone shows, is German and therefore its management and care will be entrusted to members of our own nation. If the rest of the world cries out with a hypocritical mien against this barbaric expulsion from Germany of such an irreplaceable and culturally eminently valuable element, we can only be astonished at the conclusions they draw from this situation. For how thankful they must be that we are releasing these precious apostles of culture and placing them at the disposal of the rest of the world.
Yeah, okay, hold on, bro. I mean, hold on, mustache man. Listen, the thing about this is, you just recognize that it was absolutely barbaric. You're fine with that. Listen, this man here is a talker. I didn't know the whole time. I was sitting there wondering, why are you following this little mustache man? Like, what is so interesting about what he was saying? Imagine if all of what happened after WW1, right, happened specifically to Germany, and all these countries came in and they were just like, listen, I'm gonna take all your stuff, right? Oh man. So I think anyone that has like some type of nationalist like sentiment generally would be like, you think you could do this to me? That's basically what the mustache man basically said, right? You think you can do this to me? And us? He basically hit the nerve with every single one of the people that supported him locally. That's what he did. He said all of the right things, guys. He's nothing but a demagogue, right? You say all the right things to justify the absolute barbaric nonsense that he just admitted to in his statement, bro. Right? It doesn't make it better, right? It doesn't.
In accordance with their own declarations, they cannot find a single reason to excuse themselves for refusing to receive this most valuable race in their own countries. Nor can I see a reason why the members of this race should be imposed upon the German nation, while in the states, which are so enthusiastic about these splendid people, their settlement should suddenly be refused with every imaginable excuse. I think that the sooner this problem is solved, the better, for Europe cannot settle down until the question is cleared up. It may very well be possible
cleared up
that sooner or later an agreement on this problem may be reached in Europe, even between those nations which otherwise do not so easily come together. The world has sufficient space for settlements, but we must once and for all get rid of the opinion that the race was only created by God for the purpose of being in a certain percentage a parasite living on the body and the productive work of other nations. The race will have to adapt itself to sound constructive activity as other nations do, or sooner or later it will succumb to a crisis of an inconceivable magnitude. One thing I should like to say on this day, which may be memorable for others as well as for us Germans, in the course of my life, I have very often been a prophet and have usually been ridiculed for it.
Oh, yeah?
During the time of my struggle for power, it was in the first instance the race which only received my prophecies with laughter when I said that I would one day take over the leadership of the state, and with it that of the whole nation, and that I would then, among many other things, settle the problem. Their laughter was uproarious, but I think that for some time now they have been laughing on the other side of their face. Today I will once more be a prophet. If the international financiers in and outside Europe should succeed in plunging the nations once more into a world war, then the result will not be the Bolshevization of the earth, and thus the victory of, but the annihilation of the race in Europe. The nations are no longer willing to die on the battlefield so that this unstable international race may profiteer from a war or satisfy its Old Testament vengeance.
Old Testament vengeance?
The watchword, workers of the world unite, will be conquered by a higher realization, namely, workers of all classes and of all nations, recognize your common enemy.
If you have suggestions for other historical speeches or works you'd like to see recreated,
my God.
please leave a comment below with your recommendations. Your input is invaluable.
Okay, listen. Hold the phone, buddy. Right? Oh my God. I understand why so many people followed him. I do. I fully grasp it based off of the speech. If you have been going through something in your country, you will always look to point at the other as if the other is the actual problem in your country. Without finding the actual root cause, you just look for, oh, that person looks different to me. I'm going to go ahead and blame every single thing on that person. It's weird, and it happens consistently. It still happens. It doesn't change. The words have just become less harsh and overall masked, right? Like instead of saying the old words, right, that used to be said, everything now is, some variation of, I don't know, either like shut up and dribble or, I don't know, urban. Like everything is different now. The words are just softened, guys, right? Nothing has changed. Well, some things have changed, but the overwhelming issue here hasn't. It's always like an otherization that happens before you then attempt to justify your absolute torment of a people, right? By saying, oh, this is the reason why everything is terrible. Guys, come on. It's terrible. It's bad. I don't like this. I'm not even sure YouTube's going to allow me to post this, guys. We're gonna go ahead and give it the old college try, right? But I am not sure we're going to be able to post this without it getting deleted. So if you see this and it is censored by any means, there's mainly the J word that may have to actually be taken out of some of the context, because that's going to flag this video in a way that's crazy. But we're going to see. I'm going to try to post this. I have no idea how they posted it, but I'm guessing because they have they don't have a lot of subscribers at all, so YouTube doesn't really target them yet. But trust me, bro, it's coming. Right? The bigger your channel gets, the more they target you. But I'm going to try. I'll try to post it, guys. I'll try to post it with no censors or anything like that, but we're going to try. Guys, let me know what you think. Does it change the speech for you, right? Does it change anything for you? Doesn't change nothing for me, right? I don't like the mustache man, but it's obvious, though. I'm not supposed to like the mustache man. You wouldn't like me. But all right, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly.